So we give praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Yah, name of Yahushua HaMashiach. What ended up occurring is the thing just stopped. And it didn't allow me to go back to it. So I had to do what I had to do. So, John 5:39, search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they which testify of me, and you not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another? Receive not the honor that comes from Elohim only. Do not think that I accuse you to Abba. There is one that accused you, even Moses, to whom you trust. For had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? So since I have to start over, and I'm going to go, y'all willing, until the 9 o'clock hour, because thing locked up, it is what it is. Proverbs 11:30 says that, the fruit of the righteous is a tree of life. And he that wins souls is wise. Of course, the word for fruit is pereh, pei, rosh, and yod. Yahusha is the word of Elohim. John 1:1. In the beginning was the word, and the word was with Elohim, and the word was Elohim, and the same was in the beginning with Elohim. Now, if you recall, that Yahusha is the word. So if Yahusha is the words of the highest, then this means that word has to be manifested in order to bring forth this fruit, in order to bring forth the salvation, or he is that fruit of the righteous. So nevertheless, when you take a look at, we're going to take a trip down to 1 John chapter 2. First John 2:1 says, my little children, these things that I write unto you, that you sin not. If any man sin, we have an advocate with Abba, Yahushua HaMashiach the righteous, and he is the propitiation for our sins, and not for ours only, but also for the sins of the world. Hereby we do know that we know him if we keep his commandments. He that say he know him and keep not his commandments is a liar, and the truth is not in him. But whoso keep his word, in him truly the love of Elohim is perfected. Hereby we know that we are in him. He that saith he abideth him himself also to walk even as he walked. So when we take a look at that, right, you ought to walk as he walked, and that the fruit of the righteous is the tree of life. We need to take another look at something. That's Luke chapter 6, verse 43. I'll try, y'all willing. I remember everywhere we started out with. If not, it's not y'all's will. Nevertheless, Luke 6:43. Yahushua makes the statement that for a good tree cannot bring forth corrupt fruit, neither do a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. For every tree is known by its own fruit. So every tree is going to be known. Remember, he said, I come in my Abba's name, you receive me not. If another come in his own name, you'll receive him. Yahushua is the words of Elohim. Remember what we talked about where it say, blessed be he that come in the name of Yahuwah. He's only coming in the name of Yahuwah. So he's only speaking Yahuwah's words. John 12, he made the statement that my Abba gave me a commandment, what I should say and what I should speak. And I know his commandment is life everlasting. This is why he says it's the Ruach that quickeneth, the flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are Ruach and they are life. See, what individuals don't understand is that scripture's got to be manifested in this instance. That word has to be dwelling in you. Now, we had read something earlier, but we'll get to it. He said, for every tree is known by its own fruit. For of thorns men do not gather figs, nor of a bramble bush gather they grapes. A good man out of the good treasure of his heart bring forth that which is good. An evil man out of the evil treasure of his heart bring forth that which is evil. For the abundance of the heart is mouth speaks. And why call you me Lord, Lord, and do not the things which I say? Now remember, right, Yahushua, the fruit of the righteous is the tree of life. Pei, rosh, yod. So if you don't do the things that he says because you don't believe that Yahushua is the word of Elohim. Because if you did, you would believe it. Let's take a look. Proverbs chapter 8, verse 5. We'll make it verse 4. Proverbs 8:4. Unto you, O men, I call, and my voice is to the sons of men. O you simple, understand wisdom. You fools, be you of an understanding heart. Herefore I will speak of excellent things, and the opening of my lips shall be right things, for my mouth shall speak truth, and the wickedness abomination to my lips. All the words of my mouth are in righteousness. There is nothing froward and perverse in them. They are plain to him that understand, and right to them that find knowledge. Now the word for mouth there is ka, and ka, which is the hollow or the palm in the separation. So it's the sacrifice that separates. It's the wound that separates. Let's take a look. Luke chapter 9. Luke 9 and 18. And it came to pass as he was alone praying with his disciples, his disciples were with him, and he asked them, saying, whom say the people that I am? They answering said, John the Baptist, but some say Elijah. Others say one of the old prophets is risen again. He said unto them, but whom say you that I am? Peter answering said, the Mashiach of Elohim. Remember, we talked about this last week with Daniel. Say how the Mashiach would come through to be cut off, but not for himself, and how he would anoint the most Kadash and seal up the vision and make an end of sins and make a reconciliation for sins, or the kafar. See, again, you need Yahuwah. Yahuwah don't need you. Yahuwah does not need to make reconciliation with you. You need to be reconciled to him. This is why he said you need to make a new lev and a new ruach. You need a new breath in you. You need a new life in you. That's what you need. You need a new life in you. You need a new heart in you, which means if you need a new heart, and that's lev and that's lamad and ba, you need the teachings of the Son in you. You need the gospel inside of you. You understand? So now when we look at this here, let's continue. Then he straightly charged them and commanded them to tell no man that thing, saying the Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected of the elders and the chief priests and scribes, and be slain and be raised the third day. And he said to them, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his stake daily and follow me. Paul made the statement in 2 Corinthians chapter 5, how your outward man perished, but your inward man is renewed day by day. If you recall in Isaiah 40 and 31, the word for renewed is kalah, kat, pay. What was the other word in that? I forget it. Hold on. I have it for you in just a moment. Because remember, he said, Yahuwah shall cause them to renew their strength. Those that wait on Yahuwah shall renew their strength. And that word is kalah, ka, lamad, and pay. So when you look at that, what? The shepherd's words separate. So in John 7:37, when we say, in John 7:37, he says what? In that last day, that great day of the feast, Yahushua stood up and cried, saying that whosoever believe on me, as the scripture have said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. But this he spake of the Ruach HaKodesh, that those which don't believe on him should receive. Because the Ruach HaKodesh was not yet given, because Yahushua was not yet esteemed. He hadn't been esteemed, so that hadn't been given. You can only get it because you believe on it. Like it tells you, to renew your mind. Renew your mind. Renew your mind. You know what I'm saying? And to be renewed as far as being transformed and not being conformed to this world, but make yourself a living sacrifice. But the only way you can be renewed if the word is kalaf, remember, is to make something better. Let me read that definition again, because that was on the first go around before we had our technical difficulties. Let me read that definition. Again, it's kalaf, kat, lamar, and pay. And it's to change, to substitute, to change for better, or to show newness of a tree. So remember, he said a good tree bring forth good fruit. So you're showing that you were an old, rotted, decayed tree. Remember that, like when he told that fig tree to dry up because it didn't bring forth any fruit. Now what? Pause. Matthew chapter 3, actually. Matthew chapter 3, verse 8. He said, bring forth fruits meet for repentance, and think not to say within yourselves, we have Abraham to our Abba. For I say unto you that Elohim is able of these stones to raise up children unto Abraham. And now also the axe is laid unto the root of the trees. Therefore every tree which bring not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. So what is that good fruit? It's Yahusha, because that's Pere, Pei, Rosh, Yah. Yahusha is the words of Elohim. So you have to manifest the words of Elohim. How can you manifest? Let's take a look at something else. Romans 10 and 1. How can you manifest the words of Elohim without this right here? See, like I mentioned before, like we go to establish our own righteousness. We move about as if Yahuwah have need of us when we have need of him. He doesn't need anything from us. He told you that in Psalm 50. He said, if I didn't ask you for no sacrifices. Let me show you that here so y'all can understand that, man. Hold on, man. Before we get to Romans 10, just look at what Yahuwah say in Psalm 50, man. 50 and 7. I didn't want y'all to see what he said. Psalms 50 and 7. Hear, O my people, and I will speak, O Yasharal, and I will testify against you. I am Elohim, even your Elohim. I will not reprove you for sacrifices or burnt offerings to have been continually before me. I will take no bullock out of your house, nor he goats out of your folds. For every beast of the forest is mine, and the cattle upon 1,000 hills. I know all the fowls of the mountain. The wild beasts of the field are mine. If I were hungry, I wouldn't tell you, for the world is mine, and the fullness thereof. Will I eat the flesh of bulls or drink the blood of goats? Offer unto Elohim thanksgiving, and pay your vows unto the Most High. And call upon me in the day of trouble, and I will deliver you, and you shall esteem me. That man letting you know, I don't need you, and I don't need anything from you. Let's read that again. He said, I will not reprove sacrifices or burnt offerings to have been continually before me. I will take no bullock out of your house, nor he goats out of your folds. For every beast of the forest is mine, and the cattle upon 1,000 hills. I know all the fowls of the mountains, and the wild beasts of the field are mine. And if I were hungry, I would not tell you, for the world is mine, and the fullness thereof. Will I eat the flesh of bulls or drink the blood of goats? Offer unto Elohim thanksgiving. Pay your vows unto the Most High, and call upon me in the day of trouble. I will deliver you, and you shall esteem me. Now come over here to Romans 10. That man said, I don't need none for you. The whole world's mine. The whole world's mine. See, that's our problem. You the one need everlasting life. We talked about this last week. That man said, I lift my right hand up and say, I live forever. Can't none one of us do that and be telling the truth. So you need him. He don't need you. That's why I be tripping. This captivity ain't going to end if we don't do this. This captivity going to end when Yahuwah say it's going to end. This stuff go on his timeline. This man don't need you niggas to do nothing. It's his will. It's his mystery. It's his truth. It's his manifestation of righteousness. He'll do it when he feel like it. Not because of you. At that point, that means he's in conjunction with you. That's asinine. When you the one sin, you the one don't believe, you the one rebellious, you the one reject counsel, you the one don't think straight. Indeed. Praise Yahuwah in the name of Yahushua. Indeed. And that's what it is, man. You know what I'm talking about? And that's what our problem is. You niggas think you too important to Yahuwah than what you are. This man has no need of anyone. He's self-existing and self-sustaining. What does he need us for? Why does the creator need the creation? Make that make sense in your mind. The creator needs the creation. That means this man has low self-esteem and needs to be validated by you. Do you know how asinine and retarded and just simplistically idiotic that sounds? The creator needs the creation to feel better about himself. Niggas, or the man who put the play, he the one designed the offense, called the play, you know what I'm talking about, and runs the play. So he don't need you to do nothing in the play to fulfill the offense of which he created. He don't need nobody for that. Because guess what? If you don't want to do it, he got somebody who will. Ain't nothing gonna stop what he got going on. Nobody ever can read anywhere in the text where Yahuwah didn't do something, but somebody else was holding something up. right. Not one time do you see Yahuwah say, oh, I can't do this here because they ain't ready. They ain't did this yet, so I can't do it. That man gonna do it when it's time, when he wanted to be done. We on Yahuwah's time clock. He ain't on our time clock. How stupid is that? Junk just pisses me off to the utmost levels of pissivity. Makes absolutely no sense. Absolutely no sense. Like, oh, well, I can't save them because, it's 45 dudes over there in Missouri. They ain't got their mind right. It's 100 dudes over there in Florida. They doing retarded. I got about 250 over there in South America. They just won't obey. No, that don't work like that. That man don't care what you doing. You better be right when I get here or you gonna die when I get here. Bottom line. Bottom line. If you ain't ready, this man told you to watch. Indeed, I can't either. Praise Elohim in the name of Yahushua for real. You ain't told no lie then. But just sit back and think about that. Matter of fact, let me read this Romans 10 and then we'll get Luke 12. Or Luke 13, I should say. He said, brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to Elohim for Yasharal is that they might be saved. For I bear them record they have a zeal of Elohim, but not according to knowledge. For being ignorant of Elohim's righteousness and going about to establish their own righteousness, they have not submitted themselves to the righteousness of Elohim. Yahuwah said in Torah, Abraham believed in Yahuwah and he counted him that for righteousness. So you got to be righteous in his eyesight. That's why that when you look at the fruit of the righteous as a tree of life, it's Yahushua is the word of Elohim. So it's the word and what makes an individual righteous. This is how he can manifest everlasting life. Without that word, you can't do it. Remember, we talked about this in that Ecclesiastes 4 and 11. He said, if one prevail, two will stand, and a 3/4 cord is not easily broken. And remember, it's three that bear record in Shamahim, the Father, the Word, and the Ruach HaKadosh, and these three are one. It's showing you plain as day that Yahushua is the righteousness of Elohim, and that is the only fruit that matters. So when we look at it, he say that if that word abides in us, we'll walk as he walked. So that manifestation of faith is first and foremost, because he told them, men, on the third day, I'm going to rise from the dead. See, and we're going to read some of that in a moment. See, everybody like to talk about what Yahushua did, but the one thing, he kept all the commandments, but they forgot he kept the greatest commandment. He loved Yahuwah with all his heart, mind, strength, and soul. As I told you, you can't love someone you don't trust. A lot of people have a problem loving Yahuwah is because you don't trust him. You don't trust him. So how can you follow someone you don't trust? And every man who listening to the sound of my voice, if you are a married man and you a husband and Hamashiach is your head, you have to have overwhelming trust in him to follow him, or else your wife is not going to trust you unless she's a simpleton. You know what I'm saying? If you're not manifesting that fruit of Yahushua, how can that woman fully trust in you? She's going to know that you don't know what you're doing and where you're going. So she can't yield completely over. Because the manifestation of a man and a woman, the manifestation between a man and a woman is the manifestation, like Paul wrote in Ephesians. It's a great mystery between the body and between man and a woman. But I speak concerning Hamashiach and the body, because a marriage is supposed to mirror that. It's supposed to be a shining example of the kingdom of heaven. It's supposed to be a shining example of the kingdom of heaven. The people can't never be right if the men are stubborn, proud, idiotic, won't seek counsel, want to do things on their own. You ain't supposed to live life like that. That's what the world taught you. We've already went through that. We seek counsel from idiots when you're supposed to be seeking counsel from Elohim. That's why we looked at that. A multitude of counselors, there's safety, there's salvation. So you're supposed to be seeking your purpose, the plan, and the design from the word. And when I say the word, I'm talking about Yahushua. And if you're not hearing him, see, it's like what Ezekiel said. He said, Ezekiel, they're not going to hear you because they don't hear me. So sometimes people sit back and look at, well, people ain't hearing the word being preached. Of course you're not going to hear it. If you ain't going to hear it from Yahuwah, what make you think you're going to listen to me or anyone like me? You're not, because you don't care. You don't believe it. You won't do what you want to do. And there's consequences for doing what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? And it shows the level of your pride to say, I don't want to take this counsel that Yahuwah has given me and follow the direction of my Father and walk in this upright design that is flawless. It is flawless. There's not a flaw in it. There's not a fault in it. Ain't nothing in it that will fail. But I don't walk in that. because I think I'm smarter than that. I think my way's better. But there's a way that seems right unto a man, and the end thereof are the ways of death. Let that be known. Nevertheless, he say, for Hamashiach is the end of Torah for righteousness to everyone that believes. He is the purpose to be able to attain righteousness. Now let's drop over here to verse 13. For whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. Now we just read that. You just read that. Now again, how shall they then call on him whom they have not believed? And how shall they believe on him whom they have not heard? And how shall they hear without a preacher? How can you say you believe on Yahushua and you've never heard the gospel? How is that possible? How are you calling on a man you don't know? How you can call on a man you don't know? You can't know someone without being told of him. This is why he told his apostles, go on the earth and tell them about me. Because he is that fruit. Let's take a look at that, Galatians chapter 5. The fruit that has to be manifested is Yahushua HaMashiach in his totality. In his totality. Now let's look at the whole thing in Galatians 5 and 22. And let's look at it, right? The fruit of the Ruach is love, joy, shalom, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no Torah. And they that are Mashiachs have crucified the flesh with the infections and lust. Now, like I say, right, a lot of brews love to talk about we need to manifest the fruits of the Spirit. But that's why I mentioned in John 7:37. You can't manifest that fruit if you haven't received the Spirit yet. That's impossible. It's impossible. And you can't get the Spirit unless you believe. And you can't believe unless you've heard of this man. I've talked to brews and be like, oh, you can get the Spirit from keeping the law. Where did you get that from? Nobody in the Old Testament who had the Spirit poured on them received it because they kept Torah. You won't find it. Saul didn't get the Spirit poured on him because he said he kept Torah. Yah poured that on him. He poured that on David because David trusted in him when he went and slayed Goliath, and he manifested that when he poured it on him. When it was on Samuel, he was sanctified from the womb. There was no work that he did for that to be poured on him. What about Samson? What work did he do? He didn't do nothing. He didn't have to do nothing. They believed in Yahuwah. That's why he poured it on. See, that's the thing. That's the conversation I don't want to have. That's the conversation you don't want to have because faith comes from the heart. And it comes from the heart because you heard. Like Job told you. He said, I heard of you with the ear, and now my eyes see you. See, that's why brews don't like to talk about faith and push it off and say that's a Christian thing and this, that, there, and the other. Oh, the difference between the Nephash and the Ruach. Now, the Nephash is the soul, and the Ruach means breath. So when Yahuwah breathed the breath into Adam, that made him a living soul. But that's just the breath that's in your lungs that keep you alive right now at this moment. But as you read, and when Paul makes the distinction, it shows the difference. There's several places in Psalms 119, quicken me, which means make alive. And when Yahushua says the Ruach, that quickening, when you look on the second fold of him breathing into you, where he tells you need to make a new heart and a new Ruach, because you need to go from being a living soul to a quickening Ruach, and you need that Yahushua, when his resurrection from the dead and belief in him, he pours the Ruach HaKadosh in you and you get breathed on again. But this time, this is the breath under everlasting life, because that Nephash or that soul or that breath that comes from that comes back to you because you have to go to the grave. From dust you came and dust you shall return. So you have to be renewed, which is that Kalaf, the Kat, the Lamah, and the Pei. And you need to have the words of the shepherd separate you. So you have to be born again. And that's where you get the difference between the Nephash and the Ruach in regards to gospel. But one means breath and other means soul. I hope that satisfied your query. If you got another question, go ahead, drop it, and we'll try to get to it as we can. I'm trying to think of anybody else on top of my head who mentions that the Ruach was poured on. And also the difference between the Ruach HaKadosh with a Mashiach, it is a continual indwelling spirit. Everyone else, with the exception of David in the Old Testament, you read the Ruach coming off of them. Because that would have been eternal life, and that wasn't on them. That couldn't have been manifested until Yahushua HaMashiach was esteemed. Once he was esteemed, all men could receive the Ruach. Indeed, brother. All men then could receive the Ruach. And once they receive the Ruach, you can live forever. And that is the objective. That is the only thing that matters. Fourth is being number one. There are many things that we can do in life that are highly important and not to be disregarded in any shape, form, or fashion. I'm not trying to discredit or push to the side certain things of a natural perspective. But if you do not have the Ruach HaKodesh in you, you do not belong to Elohim. He will reject you and he will cast you from his sight, and you will be tormented, and there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And that ought to cause men to consider. And when you consider, then you ought to hear what I say, though. You can't debate faith. That's why when you run across a lot of brews, they'll tell you, oh, you sound like a Christian. Because, see, you can't debate that. You either believe in the man or you don't. You either have an expectation of reward from the man or you don't. You either trust him or you don't. So you can't debate that. Oh, no. Now, that's something we done talked about a long time ago. But I'll give you a short one. When you look at when Peter makes mention of he preached to the spirits or the Ruachs in prison. An example of that in the law is Joseph, when he was in the prison and he manifested prophecy to those men in there. It's also in Job 28. Yahusha came back and sealed up every righteous man who was before him, because they all had access to salvation. They just didn't have access to the Ruach because that wasn't manifested yet. That's why we are blessed to be those who come after Yahusha than those who are before him. Because you had access off the top to the things that they didn't have access for off the top. You know what I'm saying? So I know some. So you have some brothers, they'll sit back and they'll look at it as, and y'all willing, we might go back over that to refresh our memory on it, because we done went through that in the past in multiple different ways in regards to him preaching to the spirits in prison. Because I done talked to dudes, they be like, well, what about the forefathers? No, he already told you. Elohim is it's not the Elohim of the dead. He the Elohim of the living. He mentioned Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They were before Yahusha, but they died with the word in them. Remember, as it tells you in Hebrews 11:1, the elders, he say by faith, the elders obtained a good report. Because remember, he said there's a book of remembrance written before him for everyone who thought and feared his name. So every individual who thinks upon and fears and reverence the name of Yahuwah, your name written in the book. See, he say, without faith, it's impossible to please Yahuwah. Go back through the Torah and see who pleased Yahuwah, who didn't believe in him. Just go back and look. Saul didn't please Yahuwah. He didn't believe in him. What king of Yasharal who disobeyed? When you look at Manasseh and you look at the chastening he received, in order to accept the correction, you had to believe the chastiser. You had to believe the corrector. You had to believe the corrector. So if you don't believe the chastiser and the corrector, you're not going to amend your behavior, because you have to believe that he is, and he's a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. And with that being said, back to Mark chapter 13, I want to say, and then we'll go through a couple of examples of that fruit of the righteous being a tree of life. So he show you how you can live forever. Living forever is not important to everybody. Some people look at it, oh, that's pie in the sky. Well, you can look at it how you want to look at it. All I know is Mark chapter 13, verse 30. I believe every single solitary word Father in heaven spoke through his son, and I hold fast to it to my last breath. Oh, the Trinity? Oh, not a problem. Matter of fact, we just touched on that. And we touched on that a little bit, right? You look at Ecclesiastes 4:11 or 12, how it says, one prevails. Indeed. And two will stand, and a 3/4 cord is not broken. Exactly. They were definitely made to be an example. You know what I'm saying? The same way he said that Sodom and Gomorrah was an example for those who would live unclean. So, excuse me. When you look at it, he say the Father, the Word, and the Ruach HaKodesh are one. It's not three Elohims. You have an Elohim head, because he gave all power unto the Son, like we can read in Genesis 41, that Pharaoh gave all power to Joseph to rule in his stead. So when you see two individuals are ruling, they equal in authority. So the Ruach is not a god. See, the Trinity aspect comes from Egypt with Osiris, Isis, and Horus. And then they just melded their idolatrous philosophies into what they and when they teach the word, and you can sit back and look at it. 3 aspects of the same being. Because the Father spoke the word, which is Yahusha, and the Ruach HaKodesh is the breath, which bears witness of the word in the world. Because remember, Yahusha said the Ruach of truth, which I will send, will testify of me. Which again shows you how the fruit of the righteous is the tree of life, with the pay, the Rosh, and the Yod, because Yahusha is the word of Elohim. Because if you have the Ruach and in that fruit, you're going to testify of Yahusha. If they're not talking about the Son, they ain't talking about nothing. What Ruach do you have in you? And you can't get the Ruach unless you heard of the Son and believed on him. So if Yahusha is not the focus, as the Father has intended it to be, the individuals is not really talking about nothing. In reality, as far as eternal salvation is concerned. Nevertheless, Mark 13 and 30. He said, truly I say unto you that this generation shall not pass till all these things be done. Heaven and earth shall pass away. My word shall not pass away. See, now he told you that in Isaiah 40. The word of Elohim abide forever. And what he said, in the beginning was the word was with Elohim, and the word was Elohim. Yahusha abide forever. Because remember, we just went through that a few months ago. He says that he was and is to come. The word can't be destroyed, which takes us back to Deuteronomy 32. I lift up my right hand and say, I live forever. That's what he said. I live forever. Yahuwah can't be destroyed because he's self-existent and self-sustaining. And guess what? In his goodness and mercy, he decided, you know what? I'm going to manifest myself in the flesh and give you access to be self-existing with me. But your self-existence is because you abide in me. Indeed, praise Yahuwah for Yahusha indeed. Because a living voice, actual living being becomes when Abba speaks. Period. What Abba spoke became flesh. Became flesh to be a reconciliation for you. And then that fruit gave you access back to that tree of life. Because remember, he said, I'm destroyed on every side and my hope is removed like a tree, because our hope was removed when your father Adam transgressed. Now that hope has been restored. That's why you say that fruit of the righteous is like that tree of life, because that word is the tree of life. Because if you take from the tree of life, you live forever. You take from Yahusha, you live forever. That's the bottom line. And that's a faith. No actions required. The actions come after the believing. Why? Because we know what the text says. The just live by faith. If you believe, then you're going to live by the belief because you have an expectation of reward. This is simple. We done went over this before. Your parents told you, if you get good grades, son, I'll give you this right here. And you did the work because you believed the promise. If you didn't believe your people were going to reward you, you wouldn't have done it. So when you see people who hear the word and don't do the work necessary to receive the promise, then you know what it is. They don't believe. Because if they believed in the reward, why wouldn't they have done it? That's why he says, without faith, it's impossible to please him, because you have to believe that he is and a rewarder of those who diligently seek it. Brother told me the other day, he said, you know what? He said, I'm going to walk away from the Israelite truth. And I knew what he meant. He really was just talking about walking away from focusing on glorying in your flesh. He said, it's time to seek Yahuwah's faith. I told him, this is my nigga now, so I ain't telling you nothing I ain't told him on numerous occasions. I said, you know what? You just now seeking Yahuwah's faith? Boy, you've been out here playing. Because you should have been seeking Yahuwah's faith from day one. From day one. This is why many people stumble and fall and don't expand and don't grow and don't elevate, because you're not seeking this man's face. You're playing games. And seeking his face is not having how many scriptures you can recite. It's not, I've been telling y'all this before, it's not how much information you can dispense. It's about that you heard it, you believed it, you internalized it, and you became it. And that's it. It's really that simple. A lot of niggas be capping. You know what I'm saying? And you got to let them cap. You got to let them cap. Because at the end of the day, just like I've been telling you for years, man, Jay-Z ain't no told no lie. It's only so long that fake thugs can pretend. You can only pretend to be of a certain character for so long before your actions will betray you. This is why he say a good tree can't bring forth corrupt fruit. You can't tell me you a good tree and you sinning on the low. You know what I'm saying? You sitting on the low, you doing this, you doing that. You know the foul junk you out here doing. Now, I'm not talking about any of y'all, because I don't believe any of y'all walk around and present yourself in that fashion. But y'all know people who do. You know what I'm saying? Your life has to be congruent with what you profess. Or if that's the case, no one will take you seriously. But most people just follow. They don't believe in Yahuwah, man. I trust him with my whole. I told you a long time ago. Chick asked me, "You really believe what you preaching, baby? If I didn't, why would I speak it?" That's what Paul quoted that came from Psalms. He said, "I believe, therefore I speak." I ain't gonna speak something I don't believe. What's the point in that? Because I don't care to impress anybody. I don't preach the word for accolades and honor from men. What am I gonna do with it? What am I gonna do with it? I can't do nothing with that. That doesn't benefit me at all. The reason why it doesn't benefit me because I don't need validation from other people to make me feel good about myself. My self-esteem isn't low and never has been. I thank Yahuwah in the name of Yahushua for that. The one time in my physical existence that I lost confidence was the worst time in my whole entire life. I never knew what it was like to not have confidence in myself. That is a despairing situation. Not having confidence in Yahuwah, confidence in myself. And I don't understand how individuals could walk around like that. That is a horrible existence. So I empathize with anyone who has low self-esteem or lacks confidence, because that's got to be a horrible way to live, because you question yourself on every cut and corner. And no one should feel that way. Your esteem in yourself should be high because you know you're worthy and you're valuable. And you should know that whatever you decide to play your mind to, that you can accomplish that, irregardless of any obstacles, oppositions, or words from others. Right? Indeed. Believe in yourself, man. You got to know, man. You're made in the image of Elohim. So if you're made in the image of Elohim, just on that fact alone, your esteem should be high, because you made in the image of Elohim. Just on the fact you made in the image of Elohim, you have to know you valuable, because he manifested you on this physical plane in his image. So you can't be worthless. The only thing that will make you worthless if you're a son or daughter of Belial. And that means your heart wicked and your actions are worthless, because you ain't no use to him. So when you know that, then you should have confidence. If Elohim saw fit his word and to know who he is, then you should believe. Not only in him, but in yourself. And that know that whatever you set your hand to do, if it be according to his will, he'll bring it to pass. And even if he don't, give thanks to him, because maybe that just wasn't the way you ought to win. Nevertheless, you know what I'm saying? That's why I told you, you got to sit back and understand that. Build your faith up. It'll spill out to the whole family, to the wives, to the children, and all that. He don't cut you no short. He ain't no man. He don't tell no. He said he gonna do it. He gonna fulfill everything he said he gonna fulfill, without question. Nevertheless, he said, "But that day and hour know no man, know not the Malachim, which are in Shamahim, neither the Son, but Abba. Take you heed, watch and pray, for you know not when the time is." That's why I told you. He ain't sit back and say, "Oh, it's contingent on it." He said, "You don't know when the time is, man." He said, "Don't nobody know but Abba." That junk ain't contingent on nobody. That's on when he want to do it. He gonna do it when he ready. Period, point blank. Take it how you want to take it. You ain't ready, you're locked down. Matthew 25 showed you that. Now I'm going to say that's safe to say that people who have low self-esteem lack faith. What ends up happening, if a person has low self-esteem, that means that people in their surrounding in their upbringing failed them. So therefore, because of that failure, you have a lack of belief in yourself to know your worthiness and your value. So even if it's your Elohim, you have a hard time really believing and considering that he will actually love you or use you, because you don't see yourself worthy of being used. You don't see yourself worthy of being loved. See, he don't operate how people operate, to sit back and to destroy you and to point out what you're not good at or what you failed at. He's not going to do all that, because he understands you, but thus he understands your frame. What he wants you to understand is if that you were worthless and you weren't valuable and worthy of being loved. That's what I meant to grab earlier in John 13. He said he loved his own in the world, and he loved them unto the end. So if Elohim shows forth that, because if he shows forth the manifestation of his word, like it said in 2 Chronicles 36, he had compassion on his dwelling place. That's why he sent his prophets to speak the word. So that means he has mercy on you. That means he know, I want you to come to me. You come to me, I'm going to take care of all that. That's why I say all you that are heavy laden, come unto me and I'll give you rest. Because that heaviness, the low self-esteem, the lack of confidence, and all that stuff come from the world. That's why he say the sorrow of the world work death. So he wants you to shed what's in the world and come to me. And I'm going to take care of all that. You ain't worry about all that. Yahuwah ain't going to look at you and say, come hear my word if you were worthless. Because you got to sit back. Esteem is honor. So when you have low self-esteem, you don't really think you're honorable. You don't think that you're good. And that ain't got nothing to do with your lack of confidence in Elohim. It's the destruction that people have done, which is not allow you to have trust and confidence in some should. So it makes you difficult for you to yield to them. And that's unfortunate. And as I mentioned to somebody the other day, right? What I told y'all this before. If you a man, you have a spouse and you have kids, you can't be focused on them being who you want them to be. You have to see what they're good at and what they're not. And you have to master weaknesses and accentuate their strengths. Because the more you accentuate their strengths, the more they have a chance to succeed. And the more that they succeed, the more confidence and esteem that they will have. And the easier it will be for them to fulfill your will. But if you do not, and this is what he already knew your weakness. He knew your weakness was the flesh. That's why he say the Torah was weak through the flesh. So that's why he sent his son in the likeness of sinful flesh to destroy that. So because he knew what your weaknesses was, he sent Yahusha to cover the weakness, to accentuate your strength, which was for you to believe in him, because trust in Yahuwah is everlasting strength, which therefore will lead to joy, and joy in Yahuwah is your strength, and therefore you will be able to put your hand to the plow and begin to have success, and then low self-esteem fades away. And men, you have to sit back and see that and understand that, because that's what Yahuwah did for us. That's what he did. He covered up your weakness to focus on your strengths. Never focus on the weakness of an individual around you or under your charge. Because if you focus on the weakness, all they're going to hear is that they are not worthy and they're not good enough. There's a difference between correcting for the purpose of elevation and just telling someone how much they suck. You know what I'm saying? And if a person hears that, especially a woman, because unfortunately, the average woman by nature has low self-esteem. You know what I'm talking about? That's why the book tells you that a man, a husband, is supposed to nurture his wife or bring her to maturity. He's supposed to cherish her and honor her. So you're supposed to dwell with her according to knowledge. So you're supposed to come through to be able to elevate her esteem. Because the way she views herself is how she views you. Because she dwells in you and you dwell in her. That's how it is if you're dealing with the mystery. If you're dealing with a Mashiach in the body. But that's another conversation for another time. That's another conversation for another time. Hallelujah indeed. So when you see that and you understand that, your esteem, see, you know what we get twisted at? Like you said, we want the validation from people. Stop worrying about that. How can you believe which receive one of another and seek not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Let him be your validation and give you the esteem. That's why he say, cast all your cares upon him, because he cares for you. He say, humble yourself under the mighty hand of Elohim, and he will exalt you in due time. I'm telling you right now, I don't care what nobody else say. If somebody tell you you ain't about nothing, don't believe them. If somebody tell you can't do something, don't believe them. If they tell you you're worthless or you this or you that, don't believe them. Go ahead, my man. They were. It was animal skin. If my memory served me correctly. It was animal skin, which was a foreshadowing to something else. Praise Yahuwah. That's a great thing to hear, man. Praise Yahuwah in the name of Yahushua. That's a blessed thing to hear. Blessed thing to hear. So I was raised that way. You know what I'm saying? To not let anyone tell me who I was and what I could and could not do. You know what I'm saying? Because see, it's hard to continue to do something if you don't have success immediately, or if you have setbacks, you get discouraged. You know what I'm saying? So simple fact is, like, as a woman, if you see your husband is having setbacks or failures, you have to be his encouragement. You know what I'm saying? For him to gird himself up to keep on going. You know what I'm saying? That's what he got to need. That's what we mean, a pillar of rest, an aid, a help, and a relief. You knowing that the woman is the weaker vessel and she has proclivities to certain different things. So you have to be there to encourage her, to lift her up, to know that she's this, that, and the third. Because I'm trying to tell y'all, man, these women may not tell y'all this off the top, but I'm telling you, if you sit down and have a conversation with them, by nature, they have low self-esteem. And it doesn't make it better in this particular society that we live in, being, i.e., the United States of America, where most of us dwell at. It erodes even more at a woman's self-esteem based off the images that they promote and the things that they try to indoctrinate and ram into young women. So as a man, you have to really, if you say you want to be someone's husband, then you have to really know that you have to have the ability to be ready to lead, to have much patience, and the ability to help bring her along. Because all you're doing is what Yahuwah did for you through Yahusha. And if you look at this woman and you say you love her, then that love of Yahusha is in you, and therefore you would have no problem doing that for her. See, it says that Elohim so loved the world, he sent his only begotten son to dwell in the company of a disobedient, rebellious, gainsaying people. Now, I don't think any of your spouses are disobedient, rebellious, and gainsaying. But you got to be able to know that this person is in your company. The book tells you to enjoy the wife of your youth. When it tells you that you pleased to dwell with somebody, that means you're pleased to be in their company. Ask yourself, are you pleased to be in the company of your spouse? And if not, that's a problem. And we need to sort that out and figure that out, why that's not. Because when you in the company of somebody you enjoy, hours seem like minutes. It seems like the time you with them flies so fast because you enjoy their presence. And that's how you should feel with Yahuwah. You should enjoy his presence by Yahusha dwelling in you when you seeking after that word that it might be in you. See, people don't receive the Ruach because they don't enjoy the presence of Elohim. I don't see why. It's the most beautiful thing in the entire universe. Nevertheless, let me finish this here, man. I'll let y'all slide, man. You know, I went a little longer because we had a technical difficulty. I ain't get it how we're going to get it. But, you know, we got 7 more days after this, back to back. If you didn't know, we'll be back on tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day and the next day. All if Yahuwah wills for us to be here. He said, you know, for the Son of Man is as a man taking a far journey who left his house and gave authority to his servants, to every man his work, and commanded the porter to watch. Watch you therefore, for you know not when the master of the house come, at even or at midnight or at the cock crowing or in the morning, lest coming suddenly he finds you sleeping. And what I say unto you, I say unto all. Why? You don't know when he comes. But you know one thing, you better be ready. Don't let them catch you slipping. But hallelujah for Yahushua in the word. I appreciate everybody's time. I appreciate everybody's patience and enduring with the technical difficulties. Praise be to Yahuwah, name of Yahushua. We was able to come back through, you know what I'm saying, and cycle through some things. Y'all willing, y'all know tomorrow night we'll begin the observation of tabernacle. Service will begin at 8 o'clock. Service will begin Friday night at the regular time of 9 o'clock. Saturday afternoon. Oh, just simply that. You know, wife when you was young. That's Proverbs chapter 5, Tavon, though. Hold on. I'll read it to you. Saturday afternoon, 2:30 as usual. Y'all willing, Saturday night, about 8 o'clock. Sunday night. No, Saturday, I apologize. Saturday night will be about 7:30. And every subsequent night, that Sunday night, that Monday night, that Tuesday night, would be 7 o'clock. But Wednesday, because that's the last night that we'll actually have service, it will not be the 7:30 start time. It will be 8 o'clock start time. And then, we'll be at Park Street. On Park Street, y'all willing, Saturday afternoon. Y'all already know the rotations of where we'll be at for Tabernacles. The congregation that said they was going to come holler at us hasn't said anything. And so I'm going to take it as they're not going to slide through. Indeed it is. Indeed it is. Word, praise Yahuwah, man. Praise Yahuwah, man. Praise Yahuwah. Shalom, brother. Shalom. I appreciate you sliding through. So let me grab that Proverbs chapter 5 for you. So that's verse 18. Let your fountain be blessed and rejoice with the wife of your youth. in Proverbs 5:18. So you should be happy with your wife. Don't make sense to be with a woman and you ain't happy. That's the wife of your youth. You should enjoy her. That's a beautiful thing to have somebody who love you and care about you. There's people out here don't got nobody who love them. You understand? You ain't got nobody who care about them. But don't never neglect people who love and care about you. Because it's not many people who have people who genuinely love them and care about them. And guess what? You know if somebody love and care about you when it say rejoice, Tavon is Samah, to rejoice, to be glad. You know, be glad. And then for youth, you got Nahor, which is youth, early life. Most of y'all got married pretty young. So rejoice with the wife of your early life. You know what I'm saying? But let me tell you something, man. Like, you got people out here don't love them. Ain't got nobody who care nothing about them. Don't love them, no nothing. You know what I'm saying? So if you got people who love and care about you, and you can tell, man, one thing for certain, two things for sure. You can't fake if you love and care about somebody. Not for long, because cracks in the armor gonna show. You know somebody care about you. You know if somebody fool with you. It ain't hard to tell if somebody rock with you or not. It's not hard to tell. I'm talking about especially between a man and a woman. It ain't hard to tell if that man fool with you. It ain't hard to tell if that woman fool with you. You know what I'm saying? Because there's certain things that they gonna do. You know what I'm saying? They gonna, especially if a man fool, well, he gonna be at him. You good? You straight? You need something? Especially, I already told you, man. You already know if a man love you because he'll be willing to provide and protect for you. If a man willing to take care of you, willing to do things for you, that man love you. If that woman is willing to serve you, that woman loves you. Get all that emotional stuff out to play and look at what the words say, what that is. If that man is patient with you, that woman is patient with you, if she's kind, that man is kind, if they're unselfish towards you. I'm going to read that 1 Corinthians 13 before we slide out of here, man. We went over it before. Y'all remember, y'all willing. Y'all remember, hopefully. What he told you, right? Love has long patience. It's kind, no envy. It doesn't exalt itself. It doesn't behave itself unbecomingly. It's not selfish. It's not provoked. And it don't think no evil against each other. You see that, then you know this person loves you. And if you know somebody love you, you better hold on to them, man. People out here don't nobody love them. Not in a godly sense or a worldly sense. So it's a blessed thing when you got people who love you. You know what I'm saying? And most importantly, Yahuwah, by way of Yahushua and Shamahin, love you. And he love you enough to sacrifice himself for you. So hold on to that. Grab hold to the hem of his garment and say, you know, we going with you because we heard Elohim was with you. But again, I bless everybody out the house. Y'all name it Yahushua because I need to give me something to eat. I ain't ate nothing all day. And y'all stay firm, stay strong in the faith. Yahuwah willing, we pick it up for Booths, Sukkot, Tabernacle, whatever you want to call it. Get it in and feast on the word of Yahuwah and rejoice righteousness and his goodness by way of his word, Yahushua, and just have a blessed and good time in Elohim. So y'all stay firm, stay strong. You know what I'm saying? Let the word be manifested in your heart and soul always. And Yahuwah willing until that time. We'll be with that rallies now. I was on computer when I had crazy. I don't have time for your shenanigans.